Schuster play action. Dumping it off. Jaden Norby wide open. Touchdown. Miller under pressure. And North Dakota finally got to him. Schuster plenty of time. Is going to air it out. Eleanor's open. Eleanor to the 5. Touchdown.
Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Brian Shawn from our Midco Sports studios in Grand Forks on National Signing Day. Big day across the nation for college football programs, and certainly no different here at the University of North Dakota. The Fighting Hawks coming off the program's 5th FCS playoff appearance, another winning record in the rugged Missouri Valley Football Conference, but already time to look ahead to 2024 with spring ball starting just over 2 months from now. This is the signing day headquarters for UND football, and over the next hour, we will break down the new class with highlights, analysis, and chats with some of the coaches and new signees. Recruiting always a high priority as you continue to build depth in a program and sustain success from year to year. And here's a live look-in of the North Dakota recruiting headquarters. The coaches and staff have been making their way into the war room, so to speak, since the very early morning this morning, and letters of intent have also started to roll in very early as well. It's important to note that this is the early signing period. We have seen over the past couple of years, a lot of roster additions can take place between now and next summer. Now, before we move on to the next generation of players, let's take a look back at a memorable 2023 season with the program winning 7 games for the second consecutive season. North Dakota's season opened with a pair of home games in early September, starting with Drake on Labor Day weekend. The Fighting Hawks led 14-0 at half, but exploded for 27 points in the third quarter, fueled by a 79-yard touchdown run by Gavin Zebarth as the Hawks rolled 55-7 to kick off the season 1-0. In Week 2, Northern Arizona from the Big Sky Conference rolled into Grand Forks for the Potato Bowl. Quincy Vaughn scored back-to-back touchdowns for UND, each from a yard out, helping build a 20-3 lead. Tommy Schuster would connect with Wesley Elidor on a 45-yard touchdown to put the game away in a 37-22 win. The Hawks would play at Boise State in Week 3 and would hang with the Mountain West champions, forcing 3 turnovers on the day, including 2 fumble recoveries by Wyatt Pedigo. Luke Skotna's touchdown run would pull UND within 10, but Ashton Genty and company would pull away in the fourth quarter in a 42-18 victory. After an open week, the Hawks traveled to Brookings to open Missouri Valley play at South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits would rush for over 250 yards on the ground, with Isaiah Davis scoring 3 touchdowns in a 42-21 win. North Dakota would get back on track on homecoming, hosting Western Illinois for the final time in league play. The Hawks would score touchdowns on 6 of their 8 drives, piling up 461 yards. Simon Romfo would score his first 2 career touchdowns in the contest, with brother Grant also scoring his first late in the fourth quarter. 49-10 was the final. On Hall of Fame weekend, UND hosted North Dakota State for just the second time in the Division I era and started the game with a bang. Luke Skotna returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. C.J. Siegel would turn the momentum for good with a third quarter interception and return that would set up another touchdown. Gavin Zebarth would put it away as he ran for 3 touchdowns in a 49-24 rout over the Bison. The next week at Northern Iowa, the Hawks could not get on track offensively, with the Panthers shutting out UND for the first time in over 9 years. Theo Day threw for 239 yards and 2 scores, including a 70-yard bomb to Sergio Morency in a 27-0 victory. North Dakota returned home to host Indiana State the following Saturday in a wild shift of momentum throughout the fourth quarter. Trailing by 3 with only seconds left, C.J. Elricks would connect on his first career field goal from 32 yards out to tie up the game and send it to overtime. After the UND defense held the Sycamores to a field goal, Tommy Schuster connected with Quincy Vaughn on a game-winning 15-yard touchdown pass in a thrilling 36-33 win. The Hawks would make their first ever trip to Murray, Kentucky to open up play in November. The game turned into a shootout in the second half, but Tommy Schuster would throw for 279 yards and 5 touchdowns, becoming the all-time leader in touchdown tosses with 61. Nick Kupfer scored his first 2 career touchdowns in the contest as well in a 45-31 road win. At South Dakota the following week, Red Wilson would start off the game in an explosive way, returning the opening kickoff back 99 yards for an early 7-0 lead, as UND would have a 10-0 advantage at half. The defense would come up with some big turnovers in the red zone to keep the Coyotes off the scoreboard until the third quarter, but USD would take its first lead midway through the fourth quarter on a Charles Pierre Jr. touchdown run and hold on for a 14-10 victory. In the final week of the regular season, a postseason spot on the line as the Hawks hosted Illinois State. The Redbirds would rush for 225 yards in the contest as Mason Blakemore rushed for 2 scores, including the go-ahead TD with under 5 minutes left. But Schuster would engineer a 76-yard drive with some big plays to keep the chains moving. Gavin Zebarth powered ahead from a yard out with less than 30 seconds to go for a 22-21 win as North Dakota earned its 7th victory of the season. The Hawks were selected to the FCS playoff field and were matched up with Sacramento State at home in the first round. After falling behind by 2 touchdowns, the Green and White would rally to tie it in the third quarter at 28 as Bo Belquist made a clutch 4th down catch for a score. But the Hornets dialed up the pressure in the fourth quarter, and quarterback Caden Bennett scored the eventual game winner with just under 5 minutes to go with a 4-yard scamper, ending UND's season 42-35. And now at the end of the season comes the end of some careers for members of the team, certainly some impact players and contributors. On the defensive side, safeties Caden Koppinen and Malachi Buckner, all Valley corner CJ Siegel out of eligibility. The defensive line, Jeffrey Griffin, Jalen Johnson, Jake Saltonstall, and Barty Ogbu all played a lot of snaps, have moved on. Linebacker and captain Ted Mullen also gone as well. And on offense, quarterback Tommy Schuster, running back Luke Skogna, wide receivers Wesley Elidor, Red Wilson, and Jack Wright also will not return. And on the offensive line, 2 very experienced linemen, and Donnie Ventrelli and Easton Kilty on that left side are gone as well. So when you look at some of the needs, most of the areas to look at initially, defensive line, certainly on the line defensively, offensively at safety, some depth needed in some of those areas in the Valley, as we have seen, rotating players throughout that grind of the Valley schedule. Now on offense, still some depth at receiver, perhaps another running back, return specialist will need to step up with the departure of some guys, a couple offensive linemen, we talked about that, will need to step into bigger roles as well. The quarterback position, where Schuster has also been a multi-year starter. So here's a look at some of the skill guys in this class. The all-time leading rusher in Wisconsin high school football history, Colton Brunell. 2 receivers, including Deng Deng out of 4 wins, very intriguing prospect there. Jack Sulik, the quarterback out of Burlington, Wisconsin, big, long, tall athlete, a bunch of signees on the offensive line, 8 of them in this class for UND, including a couple of guys with family ties. We'll get to that later in the show. On the defensive side, 4 defensive linemen are part of this class. 3 safeties, as you see the rest of this list. And again, as we talked about, UND may not be done here with the transfer portal always in flux. You just never quite know how things are going to shake out with this ever-changing landscape in recruiting. And the head coach at UND, Bubba Schweigert, here to join us to talk about the recruiting and getting to this point on National Signing Day. Bubba, congrats on getting everybody in the boat here as you already look ahead to 2024.
All right, thanks, Brian. Yeah, exciting day to get these guys committed to UND, really feel like we have good fits. You know, the one thing that's really important, you got to have guys that really want to be here, because that's how they excel and develop once they get on our campus. And I thought our staff did an excellent job of developing relationships and really strong relationships. So this is an exciting day with high school guys, some transfers sprinkled in, and we're looking forward to January and getting started with the 2024 team.
And really, as you talked about, the season ends, and then all of a sudden you're still maybe looking at some needs, addressing some of that stuff through the transfer portal. That's the changing landscape of college football as we know it. You've had a lot of these high school kids committed for a long time, but maybe trying to add some of those pieces in those first couple of weeks of December is a part of it too now.
It sure is. You know, you got to adjust with the times, and we're going to be part of that, and we know that's important. We're always going to be recruiting high school guys, and we know we got to do that and develop them here. That's been a good plan for us for years. But now with the portal and You may lose some guys that are upperclassmen, so you've got to have a little different approach, and we're going to adjust to that and do the best we can and work hard at that.
And you see a couple of the guys here, a Division II transfer, a couple of guys from West Virginia State, Aiden Bamer out of Air Force, another guy you're very familiar with, that you recruited him out of high school, and a chance for him to come back here as well, so able to get some of those pieces that you were talking about. But you know, the one key, Bubba, when you talk about being a developmental program with high school athletes is still trying to pound the pavement in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska. Those have kind of been some of your core states, Kansas as well.
Yeah, it's our footprint. Midwest is really important. We're in the Midwest League for the 4th year now, and it makes a difference in recruiting that we can recruit from our footprint that we've done here at the University of North Dakota for years and years. And especially now at a D1 program like we are in what we feel is the best FCS conference in the country, we can attract top talent to our campus to visit and matriculate, and we're going to work hard and start as local as we can and then reach out to build a top team in this league, which once you get to that point, you're a top team in the country.
And you can see some of the commitments when you look at the breakdown again in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, Minnesota. As we talked about, still being your footprint of where you want to get guys, where you want to bring them in from, and develop those guys as well. And Bubba, we should mention as well that means protecting your own backyard, which means some of the local products that have the ability to play here, trying to keep those guys in the city, in the area to come here to UND, and that is Eric Pay and Trey Kuntz. We had a chance to catch up with those two guys about coming to the University of North Dakota right down the road from their high school.
I've been going to the game since I was like 6 years old, with my dad going there as a football player as well. You know, I just going there like on the weekends, and then just being around here all the time, and everyone's wearing UND stuff, having UND banners in their lawns and stuff. It's just insane. Like, now I get the opportunity to just go there and play, and I'm just so excited for it.
It's going to be very exciting, especially playing with my best friend Trey, and mostly knowing most of the guys there. It's going to be pretty easy to like get the stuff down in the motion.
It's always exciting when a kid decides to move on to the next level, but it's a little bit more exciting when you have two kids who really worked hard for it and decide to represent their hometown, you know, the next 4 or 5 years. As this town trends forward football-wise, you know, it really helps having both the university and both high schools kind of working together and getting the athletes to stay in town.
The speed and size, strength of it, just the whole physical aspect is a whole different level, and then with that also comes the mental aspect of the variety in plays and the playbooks and all that.
I hope to like at least acquire in college, hopefully have my speed, and hopefully with my speed build strength off of it. So just work on my body a little bit more, getting bigger, of course, maintaining my speed, and that's basically it.
There's no hiding the fact that they're 6'4", they're fast, they're physical, and they're ballers. You know, they're kids that when the ball's in the air, they can go get it. You know, when their hand's in the dirt, they're going to get to the quarterback. UND scored with these two kids. They got that body type that you want at the D1 level, and I'm really looking forward to watching them play next year in Kelly Green.
Well, Bubba, you talked about it. You find the guys with the frame and the physicality. Jake Schauer talked about 6'4", a lot of room to fill out. You saw the explosiveness of what these two guys can do. Exciting to get these local products.
Well, it sure is. You know, with Trey Kuntz, just a legacy recruit. You know, his father played here, and it was really exciting to see him commit to us. And, you know, the improvement he made in high school from his sophomore to junior year and junior to senior year, really excited to watch. And he'll keep getting better. And then Eric Pay, you know, we're just scratching the surface right now. He didn't play football in his early years of high school, but he's got a lot of talent, and you can see it on the football field, on the basketball court, and we are looking forward to getting him here and working with him and developing him.
And a look at the 2024 commitments from in-state. Dang Dang is another really interesting product out of Four Winds. Really good athlete on the basketball court, on the football field. He's a guy that's 6'4", 200 pounds, a very athletic young man.
He sure is. The first I saw of him was a basketball game out at Four Winds last winter, and it's really pretty special to watch how he can run the court, catch the ball on the run, jump, and spatial awareness, all those things. Then we get him to our camp, and he does the same thing, adjusting to the ball in the air. Once again, just a lot of untapped talent on the football field, so really excited to have him as part of our group.
You know, you look at Dang Dang, you see a long strider, big long athlete, probably could have played college basketball had he wanted to as well. You can't teach size and athleticism, and those are two things that guy has.
He sure does. And just even in warm-ups, just watching him warm up in basketball is really impressive. Just a lot of athletic ability and a fine young person too. When you get to know this young man, he's just an awesome young man.
And we'd be remiss if we did not mention Lawson Lotus also committing and signing his letter of intent to play at UND. His brother was here. His dad was a legacy offensive lineman, the late Greg Lotus, who was a tremendous UND supporter throughout his many years that he had here with us. But really exciting to get another Lotus on the roster.
Sure is. Very competitive. I know his dad would be very proud of him and pushed him. Greg was very competitive, and this was an emotional day when he was able to say that, hey, he wants to come here and continue that family tradition, and we're really pleased to have him and look forward to getting him here.
And we talked about it a little bit, Bubba, that the recruiting trail, even for 2024, doesn't stop. There's a couple different portal windows. There's still some guys out there that you're maybe still trying to recruit that you've had contact with since the season ended. How do you manage that over the next couple of months?
Well, you stay at it and work. It is a lot of work, and the 2025 recruiting has begun already, but the portal is part of it. So you got to continue to work, and you just keep evaluating your team. And the way you get your team better is obviously recruiting and getting new individuals into your program, but developing those guys once we get back here in January is really important too.
And positions that you're constantly looking for, offensive line obviously, but defensive line too. We've seen the importance of being able to rotate multiple guys. That's going to continue to be a focus, I would imagine.
It sure will be. We had 4 guys that are no longer with our program, and we got some younger guys already here that we feel have a bright future, and we're really looking forward to seeing them develop. But to try to add some people there to make an impact and have an impact on the 2024 team is pretty key for us right now.
All right, Bubba. Appreciate taking the time, man. Congratulations on a big day. Try to take a breather here over Christmas break, and we'll see you for spring ball in a couple of months.
Not far off.
It isn't. February 28th, right around the corner with signing day coming up. Well, stay with us here on the UND Football Signing Day Special. Offensive coordinator Danny Freund will join us in studio to talk offense, and also we'll chat with Colton Brunell out of Wisconsin about his record-breaking career. Stay with us.
This North Dakota Football Signing Day Special is presented by Farmers Union Insurance, Hugo's, and by the Sioux Shop. This North Dakota Football Signing Day Special is presented by Home of Economy, All True, and by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to the UND Football Signing Day Special, a look into the team headquarters with the coaches and support staff. The work really continues 365 days out of the year, and the late signing period still coming up in February. Letters of intent have been rolling in. Looks like all of them are in almost for the day. One player that had an unbelievably productive high school career is Colton Brunell, a running back out of Columbus, Wisconsin. Here's more with the all-time leading rusher in state history. Yeah, Colton, signing on the dotted line to be a member of the University of North Dakota football team. How exciting is this moment for you?
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't even put into words how excited I am. Last 2 months I've been verbally committed.
And you're the all-time leading rusher in Wisconsin high school history. Can you take me through that moment and what it's like to hold that title?
Yeah, so it's great because it was 6,932 yards I needed, and before the game I needed 100 yards. So I knew I was probably going to get it the game because it was a playoff game and we were going to run the ball a lot. So when I got the record, everybody went crazy. They stopped the game, and then announced it to everybody, and it was awesome.
What's it like to commit to UND? What about North Dakota was special for you, and what made that the right fit for you?
So the coaches are outstanding. I really love people. It's just a nice community. Everybody seems like they want me there. So that definitely does it for me. It makes me want to be there.
And you clearly have carried the ball a ton in your career and throughout your life, and we'll have to make the adjustment going from high school to college. What are some things you're going to have to work on when you get to campus?
Definitely a little bit with my footwork. Got to learn a whole new playbook. So I'm excited for that. But just a different atmosphere. I'm going to have to get used to that. My school's only like 400 people, so I'm going to have to get used to like seeing like a bunch of brand new people. But shouldn't be a big deal.
You know, the Missouri Valley Football Conference is obviously a high caliber, kind of a grinded out physical league. Is that part of what kind of drew you to North Dakota?
Yeah, we're really physical football team ourselves, so I really think that it'll be pretty like easy to get used to there because it's just like what we do.
And, you know, take me through getting to know some of your future teammates as well. Has that process started already?
We have a group chat. We all talk in there. I have a couple of people like on Snapchat, and Jerry Kaminsky. I know him. He only lives like 15 minutes away from me, so.
And Wisconsin has been a big state for North Dakota, so you're kind of that lineage, isn't it? Well, congratulations to you on signing on the dotted line and being a member of the Fighting Hawks, and we'll see you in the fall.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Danny Freund, the offensive coordinator, another Wisconsin guy in here and loves recruiting that state, I know. And Colton Brunell, a special athlete, a guy that has a lot of mileage already for a high school athlete.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. Anytime you're the all-time state leading rusher in Wisconsin, a state that we've recruited heavily over the years, kid that's kind of been recruited at multiple positions throughout the process. Some people were looking at him as safety, linebacker, but if you can bring that kid in at running back, anybody that's an all-time leading rusher in that state, I think it's impressive. Reminds me a little bit of Tyler Hoosman, his running style. Bigger kid, very physical, has some breakaway speed there to take some long runs. And we're excited about Colton. Just a really good football player, great family, and excited to get him up here.
Taking a look at some of the other Wisconsin recruits, Jack Sulik, quarterback. Again, Jerry Kaminsky coming out of Sun Prairie East. We see two of his old teammates that are coming in here as well. That's been another really big area and an important high school for you.
Yeah, it's really key, you know, to get kids from Minnesota, Wisconsin, guys that are local. Great high school football there, great coaches. You know, and there's only one school that has scholarship football in Wisconsin. That's the University of Wisconsin. So if those kids can't go there, they're looking for other opportunities. The Missouri Valley Conference is a great league for those guys, and we get them up to camp, evaluate them, develop great relationships. I know there's great high school football in that state as far as the coaching, and not just at the highest level. Throughout, there's 7 divisions, very, very good and well-coached kids that play multiple sports. So excited to get those guys in the program and develop them.
And we do have a couple of connections on the offensive line coming in. Lawson Lotus, we talked with Bubba Schweigert about him, and then Tyler Thaden coming in, his older brother here, Trace, got on the field quite a bit, especially in the second half of the season. Kind of fun to have a couple of brothers joining the offensive line that have so many family ties here.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool, and I think that offensive line group, they're such an unselfish group of guys. When you look at a guy like Lawson, what he brings to the table, his older brother Peyton came from Red River, developed into a starter for us. Lawson has a lot of those same qualities. Tough, physical, nasty kid. He plays center, play on the interior for us, but really excited about Lawson and what he can become. Anytime your dad is an All-American, plays in the NFL, you have some traits, and he's still developing as a football player, so really excited to get him in the program.
And then there's a look at Thaden again that you kind of got a little bit later in the process, but another big, long athlete, just like his brother.
Yeah, and I think the longer athlete, if you look at this class, there's a lot of big kids, like 6 foot. Colton's probably the shortest guy. We have a lot of 6'4", taller guys. Tyler's a guy that's going to keep developing, and you want those guys at tackle. I think Trace, we moved him from tight end to tackle, and we see huge potential for him to be a big-time player for us at that tackle position. And I think Tyler's a guy that comes in, and his upside and his potential is very high. Great family down there at Millard West, and we're excited to add those 2 guys to the program along with the rest of the other 8 offensive linemen. And we want to develop that position. I think it's really important in high school recruiting to get linemen, develop them. We've been able to do that with the Waletzkos, Kilty, Donnie. I think Coach P's done a great job with that room, and we want to continue that.
And that's really has to be a point of emphasis. That's why you're bringing in 8 of them, because you can never have enough depth at that position because it's a developmental position as well.
It's a developmental position. It's one of the toughest positions on the field. Those guys are gritty, they're selfless, they put in the work, and we need to, if you're going to be good on offense, no matter what you run, you're going to have 5 linemen out there. They better be physical, they better work together, have connection. So we're excited about that group, but you can never have enough, especially just to develop them, get them in the weight room. And you want to recruit different types of guys, whether it's taller frames, for tackle bodies, and sometimes you look at traits, like a guy like Trace and those guys, they have really good feet, and you can put the weight on and develop those guys over time.
And you see just some of them right here, 6'4", 6'4", 6'4", 6'6". We've seen some other guys 6'7", 6'8". Those are guys you develop again. Another guy like young man out of Monroe, Iowa, same situation, big, long frame at 280 pounds.
Yeah, Big Mark Bussin, he's a big dude. He comes on campus, his parents are big. I mean, these guys come from Iowa too, like not only Wisconsin, Iowa. When you're looking at linemen, you want to go into those states. They're not too far away. They're hard-nosed, tough physical players, I think. That's what we want in this program, especially at that position. So we're really excited about this offensive line class, and to be able to get all those guys committed and get them in the boat and then start to develop them, I think is going to be key for us.
And let's not forget about the skill guys. You still need some of the receivers and running backs, certainly the quarterback, Sulik. Tell me what you like about some of those athletes.
Well, I'll start with the quarterback. I mean, Jack's like a 6'4" kid, big, strong arm. You got to be able to throw from the pocket, and I think that'll help us there develop our passing game even more. But what impressed me about him was his athleticism. He's a big, long kid. He dunks on the basketball court, moves his feet well. Broke all of Tony Romo's high school records, same high school as Tony Romo, so that's pretty cool. But the kid can throw the ball. He can spin it. We're really excited about getting him in here and really developing him. I think that's a constant key for this class is going to be development. Get him in here, and I think they're all hungry to really work. A lot of them were at that game against NDSU, saw that environment, and that's going to be the standard from here on out. Like, we got to continue to play that way and develop kids and get kids that want to be here.
We talked with Bubba about Deng Deng, Keegan Ryan, another 6'5", 200-pound receiver that you're getting out of the Twin Cities as well. You've had success with those guys. A guy like Garrett Mogg, those types of frames.
Yeah, it's really important. You recruit receiver almost like you recruit a basketball team. Like, you got to have your bigs, you got to have your smaller, quicker guys, and you want to have variety in that room. But Keegan and Deng bring a presence. They bring a ability to go up and get the ball. They were really impressive at camp. I know Coach King's really excited to work with those guys. A lot of potential, just like you talk about the O-line having potential. These big, longer kids, like when they develop the way you want them to, they can be an issue on the perimeter and matchup problems. So really excited about those two guys that we're adding to the jet room, and I think Jack will have some nice targets to throw to in that class.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you look at that, all the different personnel groupings that you run out there, whether it's 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, you need more than just 3 guys. You need like a receiver room of 8 or 9 that can be productive for you.
Yeah, no question. That creates issues for the defense too, but we want to continue to develop that room, and I think having different attributes, whether it's speed, size, you want to recruit all that, and then obviously like Bo's been really good for us, but guys that play multiple sports, it's really important, I think, for any high school football player, continue to play multiple sports because those skills all translate, the compete aspect of it as well. So we look for those things in recruiting and really focus on that makeup, and we want guys that really prioritize winning. You know, we want winners in the program.
Yeah, certainly. Well, appreciate the time, Danny, as always. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on kind of reaching this finish line. There's still more work to do, but spring ball coming right up around the corner. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Danny Freund, thanks so much for taking time to chat with us here today. Hang with us. We will talk defense with coordinator Joel Schwenzfeier when we come back here on the UND Football Signing Day Special.
This North Dakota Football Signing Day Special is presented by Farmers Union Insurance, Hugo's, and by the Sioux Shop.
Well, welcome back to the North Dakota Football Signing Day Special. And I remember in 2006, a young, spry Joel Schwenzfeier came from Kitson Central. What happened in the last 17 years, man? You haven't left ever since.
Right? I know. I can't believe it's gone by that fast. It's not young and spry anymore.
Do you remember anything about your signing day? It was kind of a different time back then.
Yeah, that was a different time back then. No, not much. We didn't do a big deal or anything. We just kind of sent our paperwork in, and that was kind of about it. Went about your day and probably got ready for basketball practice.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You were multiple athletes at Kitson Central.
Yep.
Certainly. A lot of guys that played snaps over the years are gone, especially on that defensive line. That was a position group where you can never have enough bodies. It's such a physical league. That's always going to be an area where you're going to have to continue to develop that, isn't it?
Yep, that was an area that we identified that we needed to replenish that room there with guys in this recruiting class. Different body types, graduating a lot of guys that played a lot of football in there. So we're excited about the 4 that we're bringing in there.
And they're all 6'3", 6'4", from various areas, including Eric Pay, Caden Septak as well, and Brendan Blegan out of Iowa, a lot of different athletes in this class. And one of them as well is Langdon College out of the Twin Cities, out of Plymouth, Minnesota. We had a chance to sit down and learn more about Langdon this week as well. Yeah, Langdon College out of the Twin Cities, actually going to be joining the University of North Dakota here early, graduating early and getting to campus in January to get through spring ball. Kind of take me through that, Langdon, on how you made that decision.
It was kind of late actually last year, as we were like me and my family were going on the junior day visits and all that, and I was looking into coming early because a lot of like Power 5 FBS guys go early, and I was like, that might be something that I want to do. So I was going into the summer, I was kind of thinking wherever I do end up going, I would really like to go early and just get a jump start.
And how exciting is that? You sign on the dotted line, you're officially a Fighting Hawk, and then you're on campus and getting ready to go through spring ball here in a couple of months. That's got to be a little wild to be thinking about that.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's also pretty exciting because I don't know, I'm leaving a lot of my friends and family back home, but you know, new beginnings.
Hard to put into words. I get it.
Yeah.
So what was it about North Dakota? What made this the right fit for you to come up here and project as a defensive end?
Mostly the coaches and just the atmosphere of being on campus. Because the first couple of times I came up, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really feeling it. But when I came up in the summer, it was just a completely different vibe, really. And I came up, talked to Coach Schweigert, and just completely changed my mindset, and it just felt like home.
And for you, I'm sure you have some goals and some, maybe some opportunities, hopefully for yourself to try to get on the field maybe earlier than normal. Did that play into your decision a little bit as well?
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to go somewhere where I knew that I would be able to touch the field. I don't want to spend 4 years sitting on the sidelines. So that definitely helped my decision, and just the opportunities that I was given, because I wasn't fortunate enough to have many scholarships going to other schools, and UND was the front runner in the race.
And what kind of athlete can UND fans expect when they see Langdon College?
A go-getter, a high motor, team player. I like showing out.
Well, congratulations on your commitment and signing on the dotted line, and I guess we'll see you up here in a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you like about Langdon College? Very explosive athlete, long young man too.
Yeah, that guy's going to have a bright future here. He's got a high ceiling. He's going to come in with a lot of talent as well. Kid that's going to be versatile, can move along the defensive line because he's still powerful for being a long kid. Going to be a good pass rusher, a real good athlete for him. We're really excited for him. He was a battle in the recruitment of him. Got to work with him a lot. He's been up to our campus a lot, been to our camps. He's going to be a good one. A guy that's going to be early enrolling for us here that we're going to get in and get learning our system early, and hopefully we can get him going there.
Yeah, it's rare. He's going to be here in like 3 weeks. Is that doesn't happen very often for you guys?
No, I think this might be the first guy on the defense side of the ball that we've had that with a high school kid coming in early. It'll be fun. It'll be good for him to get a kind of jump start on his career and his development there, because he'll get in, get to learn our system, get the development with our strength staff, and really get going there. It's going to be an added bonus, kind of a shot in our arm here in our recruiting class.
Well, safety is another position where you've coached these guys. That's been your position group for multiple years. You got 3 of them coming in. What do you like about the corners and the DBs coming into this group?
Yeah, all these guys we got to work with at camp, so we love their skill sets. A lot of multi-sport guys, basketball guys, baseball guys, track guys in that group there. They're winners too. They're coming from programs that they know how to win. They've been a part of a lot of different championships, conference, state championships. Gunnar Lim, I don't know if he's ever lost a high school football game. He's a winner all the way through. A lot of basketball players in there. A lot of these guys at our camp stood up because of their ball skills. They can make plays on balls on the back end. And then their physicality. They're guys that can tackle, get guys down in space, things that we really value there. And we're really excited about all that group. Asher Jenkins was one that was He's going to come in probably as like that hybrid athlete where he can play the outside backer spot to the field there because he's a rangier, longer athlete that can cover and do some things, but he's a bigger bodied kid that we can get out there and maybe play a little bit of that hybrid outside backer spot there to the field.
And Henry Theobald, a young man out of Sioux Falls, had a really good career down there, very high level of football. We had a chance to catch up with Henry earlier this week as well to talk about his commitment to UND. Henry Theobald out of Sioux Falls making his way north to Grand Forks, signing with the University of North Dakota. And Henry, how does it feel to finally reach this point? I know you committed a while ago, but now you're officially a Fighting Hawk.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Definitely committing. I committed during the summer, and I kind of want to get that out before the high school season started. But now that the signing day is actually here, to make it like fully official, it feels great.
What was it about UND that you liked? I know you probably had some other interests and other opportunities along the way.
Yeah, for sure. When I went up there for their camp, that was when it, the University of North Dakota kind of got set apart for me. Seeing the atmosphere that was there, even just for something as simple as the summer camp. Finally getting to meet with all the coaches and everything. The coaching staff was amazing. The academics they provide, I like to challenge myself academically, and Grand Forks is a great place to kind of do that.
For these regional kids like yourselves, there's sometimes there's a lot of pulling going on, especially to stay in state or take some other opportunities. What's it feel like to get out of state to head to North Dakota?
I think I'm going to enjoy it. Again, a little farther away from home than like something such as SCSU would have been. And yeah, so things like that, kind of like I said earlier, getting to experience a different atmosphere than what I'm generally used to, I think will be good.
In high school, you were kind of moved around a little bit, but you're coming in as a defensive back here. Kind of take me through your game and some of the things that you want to work on when you get to campus here.
So as of right now, I think I'm a very strong, I think either zone or man corner. I think I have the ability to play both. I know UND tends to run a little more zone, so definitely, working on those types of breaks and those types of reads and things like that. And then, I'm big on knowing the playbook and knowing what you're doing, because I think when you know what you're doing, it's a lot easier to play faster and play harder. So, definitely making sure I'm well versed in the playbook and things such as that.
And you played very competitive football where you played high school ball. You went up against good competition almost every single week. Do you feel like that prepared you well to make this jump to college?
I do. Playing in the highest level of South Dakota high school football, I definitely think does. And like you said, kind of staying in the region, I'll also be seeing and playing against a lot of high school opponents that I have played against before, playing in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. There's a lot of other Sioux Falls kids and South Dakota kids that are playing, one for North Dakota and two for other Missouri Valley teams. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations on signing on the dotted line and becoming a Fighting Hawk, and we will see you in the fall.
Thank you.
Yeah, Henry Theobald, young man that's really good on the track too. He's a jumper, right? This is a guy that has a lot of different attributes you like.
Yeah, he's a multi-sport kid. That's he gets after on the basketball court. He's a real standout on the track as well. Competed at the state championships last year in track, and a kid that's showed at our camp that he's got speed, athleticism, can do a lot of different things. Rangy kid on the back end that we value those things. Good with the ball in his hands. He's a basketball kid, so he can go up and attack the football.
And you've had some success with guys that you've developed, certainly, but also out of the transfer portal, Joel, and that's still an area that you'll continue to search out guys. We talked with Bubba about that earlier in the show.
Yep, that'll be a continued process here kind of as we get going to the semester here, that we'll keep looking for guys that can fit what we're looking for, kind of our blueprint for how we want to try and do things, and then also getting the right guys in here that'll fit in, come in, buy into the culture that we have, want to earn their way into us. And it's the day and age that we're living in now. You got to kind of keep recruiting that way, kind of doing it through the high school ranks and developing the kids, and then adding a guy here or there that can help elevate the program as well.
And certainly some leaders, some guys that have experience that are gone, some other guys, opportunities to step up this year as well. There's a lot of opportunity for guys to get on the field and play.
Yeah, that's the excitement part of it too, is that now all of a sudden we're going to have new guys stepping up and elevating themselves into different roles, and now it's time for them to take the reins on the defense and kind of get rolling.
All right, Joel, appreciate the time as always, man. Congratulations on hitting the finish line for this signing period. And we'll wish you luck down the road, and we'll see you for spring ball here in a couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Brian.
You bet. Joel Schwenzfeier, defensive coordinator, joining us here on the UND Football Signing Day Special. Stay with us. Tom Miller, beat writer for the Grand Forks Herald, will join us here on set to wrap things up after this.
This North Dakota football signing day special is presented by Home of Economy, All True, and by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, time for the fourth quarter here of the UND football signing day special. Inside look at UND signing day headquarters war room, so to speak. Getting set to wrap things up here. Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald, who was on this set multiple times, back again with his infinite wisdom. Welcome back, Tom. It's good to have you.
Hey, glad to be back.
You got the ball in your hands, man. I'm letting you take the show from here on out.
Yeah, I thought it was the decoy. Good thing I have great hands.
It wasn't a jet sweep where I was faking it to go misdirection the other way, Tom. When you look at signing day for UND, you wrote about this in the Grand Forks Herald about the importance of building up offensive and defensive lines. That continues to be a focus. We talk with both coordinators about that. That has to be a staple. I think for every team that wants to compete in the Valley, you better take care of those two position groups.
Yeah, the last 2 years, the market and the portal has not been a sustainable path for a program in the FCS like North Dakota. You don't want to go down that route, and I think taking care of numbers on a day like today is a really good start to making sure you don't need to dive into the portal.
Are there any prospects that you're most intrigued by to see when they get to campus, just based on their frame or their high school background coming in here?
Yeah, and maybe it's because I end up covering a lot of high school basketball for the Grand Forks Herald, but I've seen a lot of Dang Dang at 4 Winds, and I've seen a lot of Eric Pay at Grand Forks Central, and each time you watch them play basketball, you kind of try to project how that might look on a football field, and I think maybe you'll get a better sense for that once fall camp starts and you start to see them around other Division I bodies. But I'm very intrigued to see how that athleticism translates. Extremely raw players with kind of a fun amount of upside to them.
And it's good to see guys that are from around this area. And we've seen football continue to grow in Grand Forks. The numbers in youth football continuing to go up. And 2 guys with the frame with Coots and certainly Eric Pay that can come in here and compete when they get onto campus. Let's take a look at your projected starters for next season, because as every year, there's guys that are leaving, there's guys that are coming, and that's just kind of part of the process a little bit. And again, this isn't settled. We don't even know who's still coming to university out of the portal, all that stuff. But take me through who you like.
Yeah, the most interesting position battle obviously will be at quarterback, a position that obviously has great importance, but the battle between Jerry Kaminsky and Trey Feeney will be very interesting. Both guys come with great prep backgrounds, and neither emerging as the starter would shock me. The rest of the starters here, Corey Ty is an interesting one, just because we've only seen kind of little moments of what he could produce as a guy who can break tackles on the perimeter and be dangerous in that aspect. With the departure of a Jack Wright and a Wesley Elidor, then you're seeing a name like Jaden Dennis that pops up, or Caden Dennis, I'm sorry. And there's a number of guys who could make a case that they could emerge at wide receiver here. Really the only true guy you can pencil in is Bo Belquist. Everybody else is kind of in a battle. And then as you go down the list, losing Donnie Ventrelli and Easton Kilty along the offensive line opens the door for a guy like Ben Buxa and a Trace Staden to emerge at spring ball. It's going to be very interesting to see those 2 guys, because North Dakota needs them to develop and be reliable at those spots, because perhaps they don't quite have the depth there that you'd like. That might be a year or 2 away. There's some really good young bodies there. But not sure if they're ready for 2024 right now.
And one area, you talked about the offensive line. We've talked about it a lot on this show, but all 5 starters started every game last year for UND. That is very rare. Usually you lose a guy or 2 along the way, and you need some other guys to fill in. That wasn't the case last year.
And it kind of hid the fact that North Dakota perhaps didn't have that 6, 7, 8 once a guy like Braden Bryan had entered the transfer portal. Or you had an injury situation with Peyton Lotus, that maybe you thought you had an okay depth situation, that you can get thin there in a hurry.
Yeah, you certainly can. Let's take a look at some of the defensive starters for UND that you project going at least into the spring. And again, this can change along the way.
Absolutely. And when you have like 4 regulars on the defensive line who are going to leave, You're kind of throwing darts at the wall a little bit here, especially at defensive end. I have listed there two guys, Casey Schultz and Braden Moore, who really didn't see a lot of action in 2023. So that tells you that that's obviously an area that North Dakota is going to address. Kind of went out on a limb with Lance Rucker at outside linebacker, a guy who's projected to be a difference maker in this program. Whether that's 2024 or maybe more 2025, that will be what remains to be seen. And then at safety, there's a lot of question marks. I think we have a wealth of knowledge about what to expect from Devin Embry and Antonio Blewett at corner, but there are questions at safety there with Cole Davis and Tyler Erkman, who I slotted in there, but neither player has really had a ton of game experience. Obviously, Tyler Erkman, considerably no game experience as somebody who was a true freshman this past season, but traveled a little bit and is expected to kind of take some steps forward here at spring ball. But safety will be another spot that we'll see some transfers and some new blood to see what they can do there.
Yeah, it creates a lot of competition. It should be fun when you go into spring ball. Not really sure what to expect with some of these positions. Have to feel good, though, about the way Devin Embry and Antonio Blewett ended the season. They both really came on and played some of their best football in the final month.
Yeah, I think at cornerback is one of those areas that you feel pretty good about because Devin Embry really solidified the one spot. He might not technically been a starter at certain times, but played the kind of reps that you would expect from a starter. So there's some good background with him, and I think Antonio Blewett was set back a little bit by an injury that might have prevented him from coming on the scene a little harder in 2023 that I anticipate really could happen in 2024 here.
And let's take a look at some of the portal additions, because you and I, this is something that we follow all the time, just because you have to find these guys, establish relationships with these guys, and offer them all in the span of about 10 days from when the portal opens to when it essentially closes. And here are 4 positions that they add with a quarterback out of University of Mary. We talked about Baymar, a little bit out of Air Force, another guy that UND did recruit out of high school that is bouncing back to them, and then a couple of guys out of West Virginia State as well.
Yeah, I think 2 things come to mind. One is I think it increases your success rate. When you've recruited a kid out of high school, you have more of a background of knowledge. Maybe they fit your footprint pretty well. And that's the case with the tight end out of Air Force here. The other thing I think we're seeing right now is the 2 defensive players from West Virginia State, I think, is a symbol that says the FCS is realizing, if it didn't before, that there's some really good Division II football players, and some of the success rate that took place in the Missouri Valley, whether it was the running back at Youngstown State or the linebacker at Illinois State, you're seeing that players can take that step forward and have success coming from the Division II ranks.
Yeah, we see FCS guys go to FBS and have success, and Avery Scott, a guy we're looking at, closes on the ball quickly. You need guys that are physical and will come up and hit as defensive backs, certainly, along the way. What other portal additions do you think will be position groups to watch here down the road? Because as we've seen, they're guys you can find, whether it's in February, March, April, May, even June sometimes, to bring guys into the program.
Yeah, and ideally you get a chance to bring them in for spring so they can have just another stretch that gets you ingrained with the program. But like you say, there will also be moments where guys understand where they stack up at their current institution, and there will be another wave of transfers after spring ball. But I would think that UND would continue to hammer the defensive line, continue to look at outside linebacker where they had a late flip commitment out of the junior college ranks. I think those are the areas that I think still need to be addressed. I think they got to like the 2 additions in the secondary, but they're going to have to take care of that outside back or defensive line group.
All right, Tom, appreciate you stopping by as always, man. We'll see you down the road. Spring ball's coming up in a couple of months. We'll see you out there.
Absolutely. I'll keep working on my ball skills.
Yeah,
so I can keep making
hang on to that
appearances
thing. Yeah, ball security, very, very important. Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald taking some time to join us. We certainly appreciate that. Some important dates coming up here on the upcoming schedule. We talked about the National Signing Day in the late period, spring ball February 28th. Summer training will get underway in late May, and then players are reporting on July 31st. And my goodness, we're starting football on August 31st. 12-game schedule for UND. That includes 7 home games. Montana coming in here on the 7th. Idaho State, San Diego, Murray State. Also home games against Northern Iowa, South Dakota State, and South Dakota. Really good slate here coming up in 2024. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this 2023 edition of the UND Football Signing Day Special. A special thank you to our guests, Bubba Schweigert, Danny Freund, Joel Schwenzfeier, and Tom Miller. For our entire crew here at Midco Sports and everybody across the footprint, I'm Brian Shawn saying so long from our studios here in Grand Forks.